Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the fiscal 2021 budget public hearing. Today is Wednesday, June 17th, 2020 at 6 p.m. At this time, we will call the meeting to order. I'm trying to see how many board members I see. We do not need a quorum, but I know that we have one. I see Ms. Baker, Ms. Williams, Ms. Johnson, Ms. Burrows, and I'm not sure if I see anyone else from my view.
Good evening, Madam
Anyway,
Chair. I'm here.
okay, there, Ms. Bowles is also here. I need to use the iPad view. Anyway, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. And at this time, we will have public input. Yes, I'm sorry, Dr. Beasley. Did I forget you? I'm sorry.
No, that's
I
okay.
see Dr. Beasley and our CFO, Ms. Benton. And I believe that Ms. Donson will be reading the information. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
For public input. I see Mr. White. I see that Mr. Christmas has joined us. And if I'm omitting someone, please let me know. From my view, that's all I can see. And of course, I am forgetting someone. I'm forgetting Ms. Sherry Smith, our administrative assistant. I'm not sure if Don is on this here at this meeting.
He's here.
Okay. All right. I should have just done a roll call probably. Okay, so at this time,
So Ms.
public
Goree,
input.
I'm sorry, Ms. Goree, is Emma Benton. You want me to go over the tentative budget? I mean, it's been out for a while, or we can go directly into the public comments.
Well, yes, ma'am, you can go. Can you show us anything?
I can. I will
Okay.
do I'll present.
Okay, thank you. Very good.
Okay, can everyone see okay?
Mhm.
So I'm going to walk through our tentative budget as we know it. Today, and it's the same information we've been sharing and talking about since, I guess, the end of May, the beginning of June. Ms. Billingsley, Tamika Billingsley, is going to talk about our budget challenges for us tonight that we are experiencing as we move into the FY 2021 budget. So you'll hear a little bit more about that later. So just from a very high level, our tentative consolidated budget is 487.6 million for the general fund. It is 71.1 million for our special revenue fund. For our capital projects fund, it is 89.2 million. And for our enterprise fund is 46.2 million. That's the total consolidated, all of the funds for the district. And so as we move directly to the projected revenues, and so this is projected revenues for the general fund, and this is our general operations fund where we tend to spend most of our money. The total here for FY 2021, it's about 430 million, and you can see where the sources, the funds are coming from. State funding being at 297 million, local property taxes at about 127.8 million. As we briefly look at our expenses, and again, this is our general operation fund only. You can see that most of the funds or most of the money is being spent on salaries and benefits, 311.8 million for salaries and 128 million for benefits. And you can see our operations costs at 46.2 million. And so just from a very high level, I think that this is a good picture because we can see where our revenue was in our current tax year, that's 2020. And so you can see the anticipated changes. And we know that these changes are being brought on by some of the changes that we see in our economy and in our state and just in our overall world. So we're projecting almost a $60 million decrease in funds, and you can see where it's coming from here. The one piece that we have added to the budget for this year is extending learning beyond the classroom. That's a 7.3 million. That's the one-to-one devices for all of our students here. And also included in that is our learning management system. And I'm sure that the Board of Education and the public will hear more about that. And this is basically a platform that allows our teachers to more effectively deliver instruction to our students. And so here we are. I love this slide. It is our general comparison slide. And again, we have a side-by-side comparison of the FY 2020 budget compared to the tentative FY 2021 budget. And so again, you can see that our revenue in 20 is 489.4 million. In FY 2021, the revenue projected is 430.7 million. And again, you see that our expenses really do not decrease very much. So the expenses for FY 2020 is 489.2 million, and for 2021 is 487.6 million. And so as the Board of Education is aware, and I communicated earlier, and of course, with much participation with many of the staff and division leaders across the district, we in the operations side of the house just reduced our expenditures by 15% to kind of reduce the operations side. And so this is a lot of numbers here where you're seeing a lot the revenue by source, and then also the expenditures by function. And so that's pretty much it there. Now, Ms. Billingsley will talk about some of the challenges just so that the public is aware of what those are, but we've also shared this information on the website.
Board and Superintendent, I just wanted to talk about some of the challenges and budget assumptions that we used in generating the budget this year. For the revenue, we're anticipating a decrease of 14% in QBE funding. That's a loss of about $50 million. We're anticipating a decrease of about 15% in local fundings as far as taxes, and that is approximately $10 million. For our expenditures, the assumptions that we had, that we know of right now, is that TRS, employee contribution rate, is decreasing from 21.14% to 19.06%. That is saving the district approximately $5 million. We also, as Ms. Benton mentioned earlier, we asked departments to decrease the operational budgets by 15%. That's a savings of about $8 million. In anticipation of virtual learning opportunities for students in fiscal year 2021, we anticipate 7.3 million will be added to the budget for extended learning beyond the classroom for the devices. Some notes that we also wanted to make you aware of: due to the fiscal impact of COVID-19, our compensation phases 3 and 4 are temporarily on hold for fiscal year 2021. When funding permits, both phases will resume. The estimated revenue decrease of $60 million will be offset by the CARES funding that we receive from the federal government, roughly about $17.5 million. And that will be used to help in the reductions of operational expenditures and the existing fund balance. We want you all to know that we made every effort to protect employee positions. Furlough days are currently not recommended for the fiscal year budget 2021. However, it should be noted that if the economic situation relative to the pandemic COVID-19 continues to deepen, revenue cuts, or if it continues to extend and go beyond an extended period of time, furlough days may be requested if determined as needed. If such a request is needed, it would occur through the action of a requested budget amendment for the fiscal year 21 and/or will be reflected in fiscal year budget 22 recommendation. Due to the fiscal impact of COVID-19, the fiscal year 2021 budget does not include pay increases for employees. Employees paid on the teacher scale will receive a step to reflect years of experience only. At the time of the budget development, it is not known if a TAN, tax anticipation note, will be necessary. Pending the finalization of the governor's fiscal year 2021 budget and a review of local revenues, an evaluation will be made to determine if a TAN is needed. Thank you.
So at this time, Ms. Dumsel will read the questions.
Good
Okay.
evening, Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, members of the board, Dr. Beasley, and district staff and community members. We have 3 statements to read this evening. The first is from Javetta Dreyer. It says, "Good evening. With only being provided 1 page of the fiscal 21 proposed budget, how and why is the district expecting stakeholders to provide constructive feedback and have valid questions at the public budget hearings? Last week, Ms. Bowles and Mr. Christmas made valid points. Effective financial planning and decision-making cannot happen without having the details of any budget. Since this is the last budget hearing, I propose that the board postpone voting on the fiscal 21 budget until each member has been given a PDF of the full detailed proposed budget and an ample amount of time to analyze it. Thank you, Javetta Dreyer." Second,
Before you move on,
yes, ma'am.
the what's the last name of the?
Dreyer, D-R-Y-E-R.
Yes, Ms. Dreyer needs to know that the information was sent to the board. So we have more than 1 page. It was sent to the board. I want Dr. Beasley, can you speak to that?
It was sent to the board and it was posted online, so it's out there for anyone who wants to see. And as a reminder, it's a draft, it's subject to change, but we will provide that information since it has been communicated or requested of us. Anytime we do a tentative budget going forward, we will provide that information. That is no problem. We are real big on being transparent. This administration is, and this board. So we have provided the information and it's available for anyone in the public to see. Just go to the website.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our second statement is from Karen Jester. "Dear Clayton County Public Schools board members, I have a question regarding the teacher salary scales. If the teacher salary scale is frozen from 1 year to the next, why don't the draft fiscal 2020-21 salary scale and the current fiscal 2019-20 salary scale reflect the same salary amount at each step and level? For example, T4 teacher at step 20 salary is $59,062 on the draft fiscal 21. However, on the current fiscal 20, the the salary is $61,030. The only salaries that remain the same in the draft fiscal 21 from the current fiscal 20 were steps years E2, 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. All other years and steps highlighted in yellow in the attachment reflect a decrease on the draft fiscal 21 teacher salary scale for T4, T5, T6, and T7 teachers. I do not understand why the draft fiscal 21 teacher salary scale does not reflect the same salary as the current fiscal 20 teacher salary scale at all steps and years when salaries are frozen. Please note, I realize teachers did not receive a pay cut or furloughs. Respectfully yours, Karen Jester." The third statement is from Shannon
Excuse
Curry.
me, before we move on, could someone address that? Because I also sent that question in for her because I noticed it as well. And you all did give an explanation to me, but it would be very nice to give an explanation to the public as to why the scale appears to be that way.
So, Ms. Goree is Emma Benton. So when the salaries are frozen, teachers receive a year of experience for credit without receiving an increase in the salary. So the scale just basically slid forward. I know that term is a little confusing. It just kind of slid forward. Everybody will receive the same pay, at least in the tentative budget, as they received this year. The only difference is that if you were on T10, if you were on step 10, in the new year, you'll be on step 11, but your salary will remain the same. And we can and we can put out, well, I think the draft salary scale is already on the website.
The word I like to use is it shifts, so your numbers shift with you step up, but your salary this year shifts to your salary for next year. So if you are on if you are on step 10 this year with a certain salary, you'll go to step 11 with that same salary. Did I say that correct? That's how
Yes, that's correct.
Well, I think that she understands that, but I think you all might need to look at your draft because that's not what your draft shows. It seems to be inconsistent. I believe that's what we understand that to be, that the salary will be frozen, but if you looked at your draft, that's not what it reflects.
Okay, so we'll take a look at it just to make sure. I think we have, but we'll look at it again. Thank you.
Our third statement is from Shannon Curry. While watching the June 10th, 2020 budget hearing, I noticed a misunderstanding to the issue I presented and just want to provide some clarification. I stated the teacher salary scale was frozen twice in the last 3 years, but that statement was written in a way for some misunderstanding. My reason for stating it has been frozen twice is because it was frozen in fiscal 19 and the tentative schedule for fiscal 21 represents another freeze. If the fiscal 21 tentative schedule is approved, then there will be 2 teacher salary schedule freezes, fiscal 19 and fiscal 21 in 3 fiscal years. I raise my concerns because I am a teacher that's in the middle years, 11 to 20, where step increases are only given every 2 years. In fiscal 18, I was on an odd step between 11 and 20. In fiscal 19, the first year the schedule was frozen since I've been in the district, I received my step, but no increase in money. In fiscal 20, I was due to receive a step increase, pay raise, according to the fiscal 18 salary schedule. Due to the salary schedule being frozen in fiscal 19, I only received a step without a pay increase from the district and the $3,000 from the state. Without the $3,000 from the state, I would have remained at the same pay for 3 consecutive years. As it relates to fiscal 21, I was due an increase by going to the next step. This, however, is not going to happen due to the current issues in the world. This means I will not receive a step increase for the second time, unfortunately leaving me on the same pay level for 4 years instead of the intended 2 years. This situation does not only affect me, but it also affects those teachers that were on an odd step 11 to 20 in fiscal 18. I would also like to clear up my statement about the district not giving teachers pay increases on the teacher salary schedule. In fiscal 20, we received $3,000, which was provided by the state. Some teachers also received an increase in salary according to their step placement. The district has not provided a percentage increase on the teacher salary schedule since the 4% increase given in fiscal 17. We are now going into our 4th fiscal year without a permanent percentage increase on the teacher salary schedule. It was stated by Ms. Benton, there was a 7 to 10% increase given to teachers in fiscal 20. It should be noted that this percentage was only inclusive of the $3,000 from the state and the step increases to those teachers that were eligible. The only adjustment made to the teacher's salary schedule in fiscal 20 was the additional $3,000. I've attached a copy of the teacher salary schedules for fiscal 18, 19, 20, and 21 tentative for review. My questions for the budget hearing on June 10th, 2020 were only to seek transparency about the district's plan to correct the teacher salary schedule issues. An answer was provided, noting there's a phase 3 and a phase 4 plan to fix this matter. Unfortunately, documentation has not been made available to outline the potential plans. I understand the district is facing a major financial impact due to reasons out of our control. I, however, would like to know that CCPS will take care of the dedicated teachers that have stuck through to see it through. My concerns are not intended to minimize the great changes the district has made under the direction of Dr. Beasley. In my opinion, Dr. Beasley has done an amazing job. I feel that CCPS is moving in the right direction as we continue to be a district of high performance, but the district must take care of its teachers. Respectfully submitted, Mr. Shannon Curry. Madam Chair, that concludes the statements to be read into record.
Thank you. I concur. It troubles me with Mr. Curry's with his salary, because he, as I said last week when we were discussing it, that he has remained at the same salary for almost 4 years because of the way our scale is set up. That I just don't understand why that continues to happen. I also sent in some questions myself, because I'm looking at even the beginning, and as he, I know that we were in the budget process considering making some pay adjustments that would have been beneficial to our teachers. But just looking at how we start off, and I know you all have sent me information saying that this is the way that the state salary scale looks. I guess I don't really think that we necessarily have to follow the state. I know we need to make sure they have the beginning salary and everything, but I look at the entry, and then 3 years, teachers are on the same salary when they first start. And it would just seem to, I don't remember when I started teaching, it was bad enough my salary was only $7,458, and I had a master's degree. But I just remember, I received the first year, we just went, 1, 2, 3, and there was an increase every year. And even that bothers me, the way we start off. I know we're this year with not knowing what our budget will be from the state. We're in a crisis, but as soon as we can come out of this, we really need to look at changing our salary scale. No comment, huh?
No, I had to turn my mic on. We agree with you, and that's why we were doing the compensation study. It's just that, as we shared, we just put it on pause, but we understand that there are situations like that because of the freezing of salaries within a certain period of time, being at certain steps, et cetera. There are grave inconsistencies, and it's aligned to the state's salary schedule, but we add a local supplement. But there are challenges, as you well know, and everyone else should know, with that schedule, and that's why we're going through, and we'll continue to go through this compensation study so we can make adjustments. And as we come out of this economic situation, make no mistake, it's our intention to resume the work that we've begun. And I think that teachers and all will be pleased with the work that we'll be able to resume once we get out of this economic situation.
Also, I wanted to mention, you mentioned local supplement. Years ago, we also used to list the local supplement, because now I don't even know what that amounts to as far as the local supplement.
Yeah,
and
we have it. I'm sorry, we have it. It's just on those documents. We just combine it to make it easier to read, but we do have charts that have it separated out.
Okay, because what I found very interesting, I'm not sure if the public is aware that we did have 12 students that graduated from fire services on Monday, coming out of Mundy's Mill High School and Drew. And I looked at our BT4 bachelor's degree, which I guess that means that those teachers need to have something that they need to finish in order to move to a different scale, which stays at 41,000. Those students coming out of high school are getting the salary that's 41,000, and they're coming straight out of high school. And our people are, they're 4-year college degree. So,
Yeah,
right. So we that
yeah.
teachers. Go ahead.
So let's make sure understand those students are working 190 days a year, and those teachers are only paid for 190 days. If we took the daily salary, multiplied by the same number of days those students have worked, it would be much more. But that's the thing about education. We pay for the number of days that people are contracted. So they deserve pay, they do. But let's make sure that people are clear as to our teacher contract 190 days, and oftentimes others who are not teachers are working, they'll be on the 190 days.
I wanted to ask one other question.
For that salary that they're earning.
Okay. Well, I know you mentioned that
Did
our
I
teachers
come
are
through?
getting
Did I come through?
somewhat. It broke up a little bit, but I know that our teachers are
Can you
only
hear me
work
better
100.
now?
Oh, wait a minute. Our teachers only make 100, work 190 days. However, they work long hours beyond. They really, so we really do need to make the compensation. But last night, I was a part of a town hall discussion, and I wanted to ask our finance people, in the budget, a good question that one of the teachers asked was about if we decide to open school, if we're on a hybrid schedule, or even if we're just face to face, PPE equipment who will be responsible for purchasing masks and all those types of things that the CDC is suggesting that we have? Will that be, is that in our budget, items like that? Dr. Beasley or Miss Benton?
Well, we are budgeting for PPE that we require. We're of course encouraging employees and others to wear masks, and then of course we'll always have a supply that's available for those who may not can purchase. So, but yes, we're using our budget. We're using the CARES funds that we received, et cetera, to ensure that we have what's needed here in our school system.
And the team is currently planning for that, ordering supplies to make sure that we have an adequate supply when school opens.
Okay, and even I received other questions, about people with underlying conditions. I think this might fit in the budget, but I know you're going to share this with us, Dr. Beasley, but I guess maybe I should wait until you share it with us on Monday. But I mean, I just thought they were quite thought-provoking. Questions like, if students have a choice to be virtual, do teachers have a choice to be virtual? Something you all could go back and let us know on Monday. I know you've also
We're planning for those options as you share. We'll share them Monday, and once we share, of course, we're planning offline, and so it's not a matter of everyone getting an option. It's a matter of us knowing what everyone prefers and us figuring out what we can actually do based upon the resources that we have available.
Okay. Well, I'll mention one other thing in regards to their questions. That is a big question was cleanliness. And I know I don't really know what our schedule is. I know that we allow teachers to come back into the building to pick up their belongings. I know we practice social distancing and all that type of stuff, but concerns about cleaning the building.
Yeah, those will be addressed on Monday as well. But
Mhm.
everyone should know that July is our Clean the Buildings month before we come back to school. And so schools are getting a deep cleaning in July. We're working with various organizations, including the Clorox Corporation, since it's based right here in Clayton County, to really ensure that our team members, our maintenance staff, and others are trained and that they are really deep cleaning our facilities. So again, but we'll share more on Monday. So we're asking everyone to tune in Monday when we present the reopening plan with the board, to the board and to the entire community. And thereafter, as soon as we begin presenting, our communications department will be sending out information that will land in everyone's email, that you'll have the guidelines, you'll have the options that we would have presented. They'll have everything available to review and to soak in as we prepare for the first day of school, which will be August 3rd. One way or the other, we will have a first day of school on August 3rd.
Okay. Board members, are there questions or comments? Dr. Anderson? Oh, no.
I just wanted Dr. Beasley to also clear up if we do, as far as the pandemic is concerned, if we do have if we do have an uprising and the pandemic comes back, do we have a plan for that also, Dr. Beasley?
Yes, ma'am. When you'll see when we present our reopening plan, it acknowledges various scenarios based on the data. And so we'll be very clear, and each option is aligned to what the data is telling us. So I think I'm hopeful that the community will be very pleased. The parents that we've shared it with, the reopening task force, they were very commendable. We've shared it with our, for feedback, we've shared it with our post-secondary providers that we here in Clayton County and others. They were very, as a matter of fact, they were leaning towards ensuring that their plans reflect our plan. And we've been in conversations with other metro superintendents and districts. So I believe our community is going to be very pleased with the reopening plan that we'll present on Monday at 6 p.m.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Welcome.
Does anyone else have any questions? Now, my view is I can only see about 10 of you on this view. I have another device over here, so I can't see everyone. So if you have any comments or questions, please go ahead and turn your green light on. I think I see Ms. Bowles.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Just wanted to thank you, Ms. Benton and Dr. Beasley, for sharing the extended budget. I am still internalizing that and will be sure to send over my questions at another time. So thank you for sending that.
Thank you.
I know Ms. Johnson is here and Ms. Baker, but I can't see you in my view. Do you all have any comments or questions?
From Ms. Johnson, no comments, no questions.
From Ms. Baker, none at this time. Thank you.
Ms. Burrows,
None at this time, thank you.
Mr. Straker,
Nothing at this time, Madam Chair.
Mr. Christmas, Ms. Williams.
None at this time, madam.
Okay. Well, Are there any other comments that you all need to make, Dr. Beasley, or any of the finance team members? Ms. Benton?
I'm good, Ms. Corey.
Okay. Dr. Beasley?
No, I think we've handled it all today. Thanks, everybody, for participating in 2 budget hearings, and we appreciate all your thoughts, feedback, and we're going to use it to make sure that we bring a good recommendation to our Board of Education for final fiscal year 21 budget.
Okay, I will, before I adjourn the meeting, well, wait a minute, Ms. Williams, are you? I see your light on, Ms. Williams. Okay. Before I adjourn the meeting, if there are any other comments or questions that you all have, public, please feel free to email those questions to the board and copy everyone. And we will submit them so that we will address your concerns before Dr. Beasley presents the final recommendation for us to vote on. As Ms. Bo says, she will be internalizing, and I will be internalizing the budget that has been presented to us. And so we thank you so much for joining us this evening, and we will adjourn the public hearing. Thank you so much for your attendance. Board members, if you will click on that red emblem in the middle of your screen, we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.